Good afternoon, everybody. Can you all hear me okay at the back? Steve, you're in. Can you hear me? Yes, good. Nice audience. Good to see you all. Based on the traffic going onto the train as I was getting off of it about an hour ago, I expected this session to be quite empty, but good news, it's not. My name's Jeff Wright. I'm the head of EMEA Sales and Marketing at Venda. Who knows Venda? Hands up, please. Either my head of marketing's at the back, either that's not good. Could I just ask, just before I get started, how many the people in the audience, retailers, brand owners, manufacturers, hands up please? Good. And suppliers of service and products to the aforementioned. Okay, so a good mix. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about delivering moments of truth to your consumers. And the reason we're going to do that is to talk, there's lots of discussion in the industry right now about multi-channel, the reality of multi-channel, and today I'm going to argue that multi-channel isn't really the end game. It's not about just building a bunch of websites, a mobile phone solution, a social commerce solution. It's about managing your customers on a very intimate and one-to-one basis, and that's what today's about. I have a few videos to make it a little bit exciting, a bit of fun, some music. Alan's going to turn the volume knob up and down as we go. Just a pre-warning, the last video, there's a swear word towards the end of it. So if you're of a sensitive nature, I'll put my hand up, please block your ears. I tried to mute out the swear word, but I couldn't. It's not a particularly harmful swear word, but I'll put my hand up, block your ears. Oh, okay, so Venda, for those of you who don't know Venda, well, we're the world's largest cloud-based e-commerce provider. We're an e-commerce multi-channel solution. We've been doing it since the year 2000, and we have about 100 customers on our platform, about 265 employees in the UK, in America, and in Asia. Now, just before I go into the presentation, just a word of thanks to our friends at Google. Any Google employees in? Good. I plagiarised some of your content, so I'm glad you're not here. For some of the work they're doing around this thing called the Zero Moment of Truth, which I'd encourage you to download the very lengthy ebook and have a read. It's a very interesting read for retailers and suppliers alike. Okay, so where are we? So multi-channel, we've talked about it for many, many years, and with the emergence of smartphones, tablets, I can see a few of them in the audience, Facebook, social networks, it's now becoming a reality. But what we're seeing at Venda is the marketplace is simply building fascias on the different channels that I mentioned before. What they're not doing is trying to build relationships with their customers, and this session is about addressing that issue. Addressing that issue and turning browsers, people looking around your different fascias on different channels, turning into real purchase of your product. But just to start, let's look at what are moments of truth. Anybody recognise this? Anyone? The picture up on the left, fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 was a very monumental moment for many. A moment of truth certainly for British rugby, very timely of course, was in 2003 when Johnny Wilkinson scored the drop kick just a few minutes before the end of the game, and we became world champions. And who can forget, with just 15 seconds to go, as we're trying to qualify for the 2002 World Cup final, David Beckham steps up and takes a free kick. And if there are any Greek people in the audience, I apologise at this stage. Who recognises the gentleman at the bottom? Go on. Well done, Gerald Ratner. Who knows what Gerald Ratner is very famous for? Yes, so Gerald Ratner was the CEO of Ratner Jewellery for several years, and he turned it around from a 130-store, £13 million business in the 1990s to a 2,500 store, 1.2 billion entity later in the early 2000s. And at an IOD conference in 1991, he stood up and said the following: People say, how can we sell this for such a low price? I say, because it's crap. Now, not satisfied with such a gaffe, he then went on to say, our earrings are as cheap as Marks and Spencer's prawn sandwiches, but probably won't last as long. Now, quickly after that, Gerald Ratner retired from Ratner's, and the business, about £500 million was wiped off the value of the business. So, that's hot. So, moments of truth. Now, if I bring us closer to home, and when we talk about moments of truth for consumers and retail, a guy called Jim Calzoni, who was the CEO of Scandinavian Airlines, coined this phrase back in 1987. He said, any interaction with your brand that allows a customer to form or change an opinion of you is a moment of truth. Additionally, a defining moment in the relationship you have with an individual customer, one that shapes their thinking of your brand forever. So they are moments of truth. Additionally, this guy, Alan Lafley, who was the chairman of the board, president and chief exec of Procter & Gamble for many years, said the best brands consistently win 2 moments of truth. The first moment occurs at the store shelf, when a customer decides whether to buy one brand or another. The second occurs at home, when she uses the brand and delighted or isn't. Now, if you're wondering why Alan is so happy, it's probably because in 2008 he earned $25 million. And for anyone that can earn that much money, I think if he says something like that, we should all believe it. So historically, it was very easy. You tried to create stimulus amongst your consumers. You advertised. There's a historic advert that shows Palmolive. And then when they came to the shelf, when they came to your stores to look at the product, it was about discerning your product from others and making them buy your product. Now, this was so important for Procter & Gamble, they called this the first moment of truth. And they actually had a director of the first moment of truth through the 90s and in the 2000s. And then finally, the second moment of truth is when the product is actually used and at home, and you either excite, disappoint, or make your customer very happy. So historically, it was very easy. You create stimulus, you have a first moment of truth, and you have a second moment of truth. But then along comes technology, and as we all know, over the years, technology has a habit of changing things. I look back at the 80s, when I remember I was very proud to have my first 56k modem. I remember showing my parents that I could plug into the telephone socket and can download the internet at breakneck speeds. But now we've all got dongles on our laptops, and we're doing that significantly faster. Additionally, mobile telephones in the 90s and the 2000s. I don't know if anyone's old enough here to remember the very old telephones, but now we're all carrying around smartphones and doing some very, very clever things. So what's the impact on retail? So the impact on retail is that today's customer dictates the relationship that they have with you, and the journey and the timing of the interactions with you. You have to manage multiple moments of truth with them, and no single purchase has to act like one another. And in any given journey, moments of truth can occur across many touch points. Now, I'm just going to give our friends at Google an airing here. Now, the guys at Google and all of us, I think, should embrace the following, which is there's a new moment of truth, or a number of moments of truth that come before the more traditional first and second moment of truth that we've been used to. And it's all about when the customer's looking for an answer about your product or someone else's, when they're researching their options online, when they're reacting to the communications that you send to them, when they're looking for opinions from others, and when they're looking for the best possible deal, which is something 15 or 20 years ago it was much, much harder for people to do. Now we just hit the Google bar.
Buying behavior has changed. In almost every category, consumers have many more choices than they've ever had before.
We used to have a website and felt like we were present. Now it's so important to create platforms where you can engage your consumers and exchange information.
In today's marketplace, you have to be out there on the internet. You have to be out there on the social media. Our job, if we're going to get closer to our customers, is to be there when they're looking for things about our company.
The process of meeting those shopper needs begins at the 0 moment of truth.
Have you been
been in a store and seen a buyer with a smartphone taking a picture of a product to learn more about that product, to read a rating or a review while standing in the aisle? These are all zero moments of truth.
But consumers going in every day, typing into browsers, they're actually actively sharing with you.
As we've connected people at the zero moment of truth, we are seeing people sign up and want to know more and be part of movements and communities.
It applies in a consumer and in a business-to-business context.
If we hadn't embraced ZMOD, we would not exist today as a business.
Zero moment of truth defines not only what the shoppers do, but the future of marketing.
Ask yourself, who on my team has as his or her primary job helping us win the zero moment of truth?
So retailers amongst us, let's answer that last question. Do you have anyone on the team that's focused and looking at what they're calling the zero moment of truth? That's good news. It would have been very disappointing if you had all put your hands up. The rest of my presentation would have been probably worthless. So if we look at these, some examples of the zero moment of truth, and I'm sorry, I didn't know the screen was going to be this small. There are lots of them, and they're not anything that you don't already know about. These are people that are searching online, using search engines to find different products. They're looking at social networking sites, they're talking to their friends, they're asking questions, and they're looking for coupons and voucher codes to try and find the best possible deal. And an example of that is shown here. This is someone who starts off a purchase journey on the left-hand side. They're on Google and they're asking about ebook readers. They know they want one, they don't quite know what product to buy. And via some review sites and some recommendations, they sort of settle on the Kindle. And over here on the left-hand side, on their Facebook page, they're chatting to some friends. And in the middle of they start by considering the Kindle. And in the middle of the discussion, one of their friends has convinced them to go for the iPad and to load the Kindle onto it. And then come the end of the discussion, one of their friends has convinced them to stick with the Kindle because the screen's better. So all of these things are out there, they're being used, as we all know, day in, day out. The argument today is that retailers aren't doing a particularly good job of managing those interactions with their potential consumers. And very alarmingly, last year, shoppers looked for 5.3 sources of information before they made a purchase. This year, just 12 months on, it's 10.7. Who knows what it's going to be next year. So if we look at the type of things that's happening in these zero moments of truth, of course we have reviews. I don't need to go around all the metrics around reviews. They're in abundance. We have the guys at Bazaar Voice, Power Reviews and others providing very good review solutions on site, and there are a number of comparison engines and review sites around the internet off site for customers to make a decision. How many people here have actually contributed to a review on a site? Not as many as what's suggested by our friends at Review, who say over half of UK consumers contribute towards reviews. That's my kids there, by the way, and the reason I'm showing them was I introduced, about 2 weeks ago, when we were in Brighton for the weekend, I introduced my wife to Voucher Cloud, which I solemnly regret having done now, because during that weekend, every single meal that we had was preceded by at least half an hour of my wife looking for the best deal that was possibly going on in Brighton. It didn't matter what the children wanted to eat, but we were going to go to get the best deal. And that's my kids waiting for my wife to make a decision. So, there's this moment of truth now, even before the shoppers get to you, where you have to try and incentivize and stimulate them to come buy your product. And consumers love to know you care. This is John Reed Jewellery, one of our customers, and this is one of their customers asking about a particular product, and one of their call centre agents immediately responding on Facebook to their query. So a good way of selling. This is a good way of managing and retaining your customers. This is another customer that's been particularly unhappy with her in-store experience, hasn't managed to find the product that she wants, and this is the call centre agent taking that discussion offline and managing the customer. These things have a real value to businesses, and our friends at Power Reviews suggest that a review shared on Facebook is worth about $15. Ticketmaster, they believe that any link that's shared on Facebook has a $5.30 value to them. So when you're selling millions and millions of products, it's very, very important. And moments of truth happen everywhere. This is from Channel Advisor, one of our partners, and what Channel Advisor allow retailers to do is to deliver their product across marketplaces, across price comparison sites, and across affiliate networks. So now you have the problem of hundreds, not just a handful of touch points that you have to manage your customers across. On Google, good and bad. I'm sure the guys at Walmart wouldn't like their customers typing this and hearing all bad things about them. Our products now are presented on marketplaces alongside our competitions very, very easily. And of course, from a social perspective, this is what I thought was a picture of all the social networks, but having sat and poured through it, there was clearly an important one missing. And finally, very importantly, in-store. We all thought the technology was going to be the end of the store, but quite the opposite, I believe. Stores are now becoming even more interesting for technology companies with near-field communications and location-based marketing. When your consumer walks into your store or potentially your competitor's store, you can start marketing to them. You can send them promotions. You can send them directions around the store to find products. Now, moments of truth. Two final points that I want to make. Every channel counts. It's no good having a brilliant website, an okay mobile store, but not paying any attention to, let's say, Facebook or other channels. So competition is stronger than ever. Success necessitates excellence across the board. Taking every channel equally seriously is the next one. And customer experience and your revenues are only as good as the weakest link. Now, I hope this next video, when I put my hand up, please block your ears, just reminds you as you're out there making decisions on how to build your multi-channel strategy that you do remember that every single component counts.
It's Matthew Horn. Good night for him. Also his birthday. And what better present for the young man than a gold medal? They're away. It's a good start from Horn. Started incredibly well. Taken the lead, giving Great Britain an early advantage. And he's coming up for the first handover. Now, of course, we had problems in Stuttgart with this. But that is textbook. That is textbook. And there's Matthew Benton, already a silver medalist in the 200 relay, picking up beautifully where Horn left off. They are streets ahead. Wonderful stuff. And it's another good one. There's Daniel Wilson with a baton. That is textbook stuff. Corden is waiting up ahead. And surely there's nothing now to stop victory for the Brits. Ooh, little wobble. Little wobble. And look at this. Oh no. Oh dear, that is not good. Oh no. No. Oh, and he's furious. Shit. That is disaster.
They were quicker than they look, actually. Has anyone seen that before? I was successful in a previous company winning the Olympics website, and I actually showed that to Lord Coe and his management team during our final presentation, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. So I love showing that because it really just shows that as retailers, every single channel mounts, and you have to, is as important as the next one, and everyone counts. And very finally, every second counts. You need to build relationships. Sorry, this is the very obvious Venda sales pitch. My apologies. I promise I'll do just one slide. You need to have a solution that allows you to speak to your customers in real time, to be able to do real-time data-driven merchandising and communicate to your customers. Summary. So customers dictate their own journeys, not you, the brand. They experience your brand's moments of truth via many channels and at the times they choose. You need to consistently communicate your offer and promises across all channels. You need to listen across all channels at all times and need to be able to communicate across all channels and in real time. Thank you very much. Any questions?